Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Now, if you're listening to this, you're probably a UPSC aspirant,
Most likely.
and that means, that staying on top of current events
Absolutely.
is like the most important thing,
It's crucial.
especially for those mains and prelims exams.
Yeah.
So today we're going to unpack a really pressing issue
Okay.
that's been making headlines,
All right.
and it has some serious implications
Okay.
for environmental policy and governance.
Okay, I'm interested.
Kerala's waste management crisis.
An interesting choice.
And to do that, we are diving deep into a new report.
Okay.
It's called
What's it called?
Choking on Toxic Smoke, the Brahmapuram Garbage Disaster in Kochi, and Municipal Solid Waste Management in Kerala.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
I know, right?
When did it come out?
It just came out, actually, February 21st, 2025.
Very recent.
Yeah, so it's got some really up-to-date information
Big
about the
fella.
whole situation.
I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, so the key takeaway that we're going to be exploring today
Right.
is that Kerala seems to be shifting its waste problem
Oh.
to other states
Oh.
instead of tackling it head-on.
So that begs the question, is this sustainable?
Exactly. And what are the implications for Kerala,
Yeah.
its neighbors, the environment, the whole thing?
Lots to unpack there.
It all came to a head with that fire at the Brahmapuram landfill in Kochi.
Right back in March 2023.
March 2023, devastating fire.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the news.
800,000 tons of legacy waste
Oh my gosh.
up in flames,
Wow.
releasing all kinds of hazardous pollutants
That's a scary thing.
into the air.
Yeah.
And this report that we're looking at today,
Mhm.
they're very concerned
About what?
about the lack of research
Okay.
on the long-term health and environmental impacts.
It makes sense though, right? I mean, who would want to study that?
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare.
Well, and you can't really fix the problem if you don't understand it fully.
Right, exactly.
So this is definitely something that's going to come up in
That's
those
awesome.
UPSC exams.
For sure.
Disaster management, environmental
It's
consequences.
a huge topic.
Yeah. But even beyond that incident,
Okay.
we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
All right.
Kerala generates a crazy amount of waste every day.
How much are we talking?
11,449 tons
Every single day.
every single day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And that's coming from urban areas,
Mm-hmm.
rural areas, all the local bodies.
It's a huge challenge.
It is, and they have a really interesting system for managing it.
Oh, tell me more.
So it's a decentralized system,
Okay.
which means the responsibility
Yeah.
lies with local self-government institutions.
LSGI.
Yeah, exactly. And this has been in place since 1994.
So it's not a new system.
No, but this report,
Yeah.
it's saying that it's riddled with challenges.
Okay, so why isn't it working?
Well, for one thing,
Yeah.
the centralized facilities,
Like what?
like those composting plants,
Yeah.
they were supposed to be like the backbone of the system.
Right.
They're often underperforming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of poor planning
Mm-hmm.
and execution.
So they had the right idea in theory, but
Yeah, in theory it sounds great, but
it's not working out that way.
implementation is where things are falling apart.
Okay, makes sense.
They also have
Wow.
44 legacy waste dumps.
Oh, those are dangerous.
Yeah, they're really hazardous.
For people's health and the environment.
Exactly. And this decentralized system
Yeah.
and all the challenges that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that UPSC examiners love to ask about.
It's a classic UPSC topic.
Decentralization, urban governance,
Public health.
all of that.
Yeah, it all ties together.
And this report gives us a lot of material to
Mhm.
work with.
I'm sure it does.
So let's dig into some of the specific criticisms
Okay.
that this report raises.
Right.
They really call out the Kochi Municipal Corporation.
What did they do?
They're accusing them of mismanagement and violating environmental laws.
Yikes. That's not good.
No, they're apparently dumping unsegregated waste
Oh.
for years.
And that's illegal.
Yeah, without proper authorization.
Wow. So that's a clear example of what not to do.
Exactly.
Even with decentralization, you still need accountability.
You need oversight for sure.
Right. Someone needs to be making sure things are being done properly.
Absolutely. And it's not all doom and gloom.
Oh, good.
There are some bright spots.
Like what?
Well, the report points to Alappuzha
Okay.
and Thiruvananthapuram
All right.
as success stories.
For their decentralized waste management models.
Yes. Okay.
What are they doing differently?
Well, they've managed to get the community more involved
Oh, okay.
in waste segregation, composting, recycling.
So it's a more participatory approach.
Exactly. They've created a sense of ownership
That's so important.
among the citizens.
Because if people don't feel like it's their problem, they're not going to help solve it.
Exactly. And that's really key to making any waste management program work.
I can see that.
So what can we learn from these success stories?
Yeah, what are they doing that others aren't?
Well, consistent community engagement
Okay.
and awareness campaigns.
So educating people about the importance of waste management.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've also invested in the right infrastructure
Makes
and
sense.
technology.
That's tailored to their local context.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Every place is different.
Exactly.
But the report does say that even these success stories have their flaws.
Nothing's perfect.
Right. So what are we talking about here?
Well, audits have revealed some issues.
Like what kinds of issues?
Underutilized facilities
Okay.
and unreliable data
Oh, and what?
on waste composition and volume.
So even when things seem to be working well,
Yeah.
there's still room for improvement.
Always.
And you always need to be monitoring and evaluating.
Constant vigilance.
Exactly. You can't just set it and forget it.
And this brings us back to that crucial point
What's...
about data-driven decision-making.
Oh, right. If you don't have accurate data.
You're flying blind.
Yeah, you're just guessing.
And the report mentions a specific audit.
Oh, which one?
The Comptroller and Auditor General of India.
Okay.
They did an audit between 2016 and 2021.
All right. And what do they find?
None of the urban local bodies
Wow.
that they looked at
Yeah.
had conducted the necessary underutilization surveys.
Oh, so they were just relying on estimates?
Yeah, basically they were just using per capita estimations.
Which can be really unreliable.
Very unreliable, and this kind of critical analysis
Yeah.
of data and policy implementation,
Mm-hmm.
this is what UPSC examiners are looking for.
It's all about showing that you can think critically.
You got to go beyond the surface level.
And dig into the complexities.
Exactly, and it's not enough to just know the facts.
Right. You have to be able to analyze them.
Connect the dots.
Understand the implications.
That's the key.
It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about plastic pollution.
Oh, another big issue.
Yeah, a huge one. And Kerala actually implemented a ban
Oh, on what?
on single-use plastics
Okay, when was this?
back in 2020.
2020, so a few years ago.
Yeah, but the question is, has it been effective?
Good question.
Well, this report,
Yeah.
it's saying no.
Really?
Plastic waste is still a major problem,
Especially where?
particularly along the coast.
Oh, no.
And they highlight a really disturbing finding.
What is it?
Microplastic contamination. Yeah, the rules are there.
But they're not being followed.
Exactly. The report points to hazardous materials
Yeah.
being handled carelessly.
And that's dangerous.
Very dangerous. And they also talk about the Extended Producer Responsibility Framework.
Oh, yeah. The EPR?
It's designed to hold manufacturers accountable.
Right, for their products' end-of-life management.
Exactly. But it's not being implemented properly.
So, again, we see a pattern,
Yeah, good intentions.
but a gap between policy and implementation.
And that brings us to another key takeaway from this report.
What's that?
Kerala's tendency to ship its waste to other states.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Is this really a sustainable solution?
I don't think so.
The report says no.
Makes sense.
It's essentially kicking the can down the road.
Right. It might offer temporary relief.
But it's not a long-term fix.
And it's not fair to the other states.
Exactly. So we're talking about 800 tons
Of what?
of refuse-derived fuel.
RDF?
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's basically a fuel produced from various types of waste.
Okay.
And it's often incinerated.
To generate energy.
Exactly.
But that still releases pollutants.
It can. Yeah, and it doesn't address the root causes of waste generation.
Right. You're just creating a new problem.
Yeah, and you can imagine how other states feel
I bet they're not happy.
about being treated as Kerala's dumping ground.
Right.
And it's not just a hypothetical concern.
Oh, really?
The National Green Tribunal,
The NGT.
they've actually stepped in.
What have they done?
They've initiated cases
Against?
against Kerala
For what?
for dumping waste in Tamil Nadu.
Wow. So this has become a legal issue?
Yeah, December 2024,
Okay.
the Kerala State Pollution Control Board,
Yeah.
they were forced to take back the waste
Oh, wow.
that they had sent.
And I bet they had to issue notices to the violators.
They did. And this just shows how environmental issues can
Yeah.
quickly escalate.
Into interstate conflicts.
Exactly. And this is a theme that often pops up
I bet.
in UPSC mains exams.
Makes sense.
So we're seeing how interconnected all of this is.
It's a complex web.
Environmental challenges can have legal and political ramifications.
Absolutely.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to discuss.
This report has a lot more to say
About what?
about creating a more sustainable waste management system in Kerala.
I'm eager to hear more about that.
We'll dive into those recommendations.
Yay.
In the next part of our deep dive,
Sounds good.
we'll also explore some innovative solutions
Okay.
that are already being implemented on the ground.
I'm looking forward to it.
So make sure to stick around for part 2.
I'll be here.
And don't forget to hit that like button
Yeah?
and subscribe to the deep dive.
For more UPSC-focused deep dives into current affairs.
And leave a comment below
Yes.
if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover.
We're here to help you ace those exams.
We are. So before the break, we were talking about all the problems
Yeah, the challenges.
with Kerala's waste management system. Right. It's pretty overwhelming.
But this report,
Yeah,
it doesn't just leave us hanging.
it does.
It actually offers some solutions.
Okay, good, because we need some hope here.
We do, and they're pretty practical.
Practical solutions.
Yeah, and even innovative
Oh, that's exciting.
for creating a more sustainable future for Kerala's waste management.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so the first thing is that this report,
Mhm.
it really pushes for a shift in perspective.
Okay. A shift in how we think about waste.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
instead of just seeing it as a problem to be disposed of,
Right, just get rid of it.
they're saying we need to integrate waste management
Okay.
into broader development strategies.
So it's not just an environmental issue.
Exactly. It's connected to everything.
Like what?
Public health,
Mm-hmm.
the economy, even social justice.
It's all interconnected.
The report emphasizes that
Yeah.
waste management is linked to ecosystem integrity, climate change, social inequalities, all of it.
It's bigger than just garbage. It is. So what are some of their specific recommendations?
Yeah, what do they suggest we do?
Well, first they say that waste management needs more money.
Oh, okay, more funding.
Yeah, it needs to be a higher priority in the state's budget.
That makes sense. If you want to solve a problem, you got to put resources towards it.
Exactly. And right now,
Yeah.
it seems like it's an afterthought.
Not enough attention or resources.
Exactly. And that's reflected in the lack of infrastructure.
And resources.
Exactly.
Okay. What else do they recommend?
They also say we need to take a closer look at those waste energy plants.
Oh, yeah, those are often presented as the solution
They are, but they can be really expensive.
to operate
Yeah, and potentially polluting.
if they're not managed properly.
Exactly. So the report is urging authorities
To do what?
to really consider the environmental impact of these plants.
So it's not a silver bullet solution.
Not necessarily.
It's more complicated than that.
It is, and they need to make sure that there are effective pollution monitoring systems in place.
That's crucial. You don't want to create more problems while trying to solve one.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of all that legacy waste.
Oh, yeah, the mountains of garbage.
Exactly. And the report recommends using biomining,
Biomining.
yeah, and bioremediation.
Oh, what are that?
So biomining,
Yeah.
it's basically using microorganisms
Okay.
to extract valuable metals from the waste.
Oh, so you can actually get something useful out of it.
Yeah. And bioremediation,
Mm-hmm.
that involves using microorganisms to break down pollutants.
So you're cleaning up the environment at the same time?
Exactly. So instead of just burying the problem,
You're actually reclaiming the land.
exactly. That's pretty amazing.
They also recommend scientifically designed landfills.
For future waste disposal,
Yeah, so it's not just haphazard dumping.
it's a more controlled approach.
Exactly. And it's better for the environment.
Okay, so those are some big picture solutions.
They are. But the report also highlights some smaller scale solutions.
Oh, like what?
Community-driven solutions.
That are already working.
Oh, wow. So they're actually making a difference.
They call them micro-enterprise schemes.
Micro-enterprise schemes.
Yeah, and they're popping up
Yeah.
in different LSGIs,
Like where?
like Vadakar Municipality.
Okay.
And the idea is to turn trash into treasure
I love that.
instead of seeing waste as just a burden.
You find ways to create value from it.
Exactly. So can you give us some examples?
Of these micro-enterprises.
Yeah. What are they doing?
Well, some of them are composting organic waste.
To make fertilizer.
Exactly.
Ups.
Others are upcycling plastic waste.
Okay. Into what?
All sorts of things, bags, mats, even construction materials.
Wow, that's really creative.
And some are even making biogas.
From what?
Food waste.
And you can use that for.
Cooking or generating electricity.
So it's a clean energy source.
Exactly.
That's incredible. So not only are these initiatives tackling the waste problem,
Right.
but they're also creating jobs.
And boosting the local economy.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And the report suggests replicating these models.
Yeah, scaling them up across Kerala.
Because they're so successful.
Exactly, and they see it as a way to achieve both environmental sustainability.
And socioeconomic development.
It's a really holistic approach.
It is, and this is all super relevant
Ah,
for UPSC aspirants.
this is gold.
It shows how environmental issues, economic development, social justice.
It's all interconnected.
Exactly. And this report,
Yeah.
it's a perfect example for tackling those UPSC mains questions.
Unsustainable development, environmental policy governance.
It's not just about memorizing facts.
You got to understand the nuances.
Of policy implementation.
Analyze case studies.
Propose innovative solutions.
That's what they're looking for.
It's about thinking critically and creatively.
And here's another interesting point.
Okay.
Kerala needs to integrate its waste management strategies with other initiatives,
Like what?
like land use planning community health programs.
Oh, so it's about recognizing that everything is connected.
Exactly, like imagine a poorly managed landfill
Yeah.
contaminating water sources.
That would be bad.
And it could lead to all sorts of health problems.
In nearby communities.
It's a domino effect.
One problem leads to another.
Exactly. So what's your overall assessment?
Of Kerala's waste management situation.
Yeah, is there hope?
Well, the report says Kerala is at a crossroads.
What does that mean?
The choices they make now will determine their future.
So it's a critical moment,
It is. Will they continue with unsustainable practices?
like exporting their waste.
Or will they become a leader in sustainable waste management?
They have the potential.
They do. They have some innovative solutions in place
And there's a growing awareness,
that things need to change.
but it's going to take a lot of effort.
From everyone.
The government, communities, individuals, everyone.
It's a collective responsibility.
And for our listeners out there
Yeah.
who are aspiring to be part of the solution,
Whether as policymakers, entrepreneurs, or just informed citizens,
this report has a lot to offer.
it's full of insights and inspiration.
So to sum up,
Yeah.
Kerala's waste management situation is tough,
It is.
but there are glimmers of hope
There are.
and concrete steps that can be taken.
To create a more sustainable future.
Exactly. And we'll talk more about those steps.
In the next part of our deep dive.
So stay tuned. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Kerala's waste management crisis.
It's been quite a journey.
We've gone from those burning landfills
Yeah, literally burning.
to plastic-filled lakes.
Yeah, a lot of problems.
But this report,
Yeah.
it doesn't just point out the problems.
Right.
It offers guidance for a way forward.
Okay, I'm interested.
And I think the biggest takeaway
Yeah.
is this idea of a shift in mindset.
What do you mean?
It's not just about technical solutions.
Okay.
It's about really taking responsibility.
For our waste.
Exactly. The government industries.
Individuals.
Everyone, we can't just keep passing the buck.
Right. Someone else will deal with it.
Yeah, or thinking it's not our problem.
No, we all have a role to play.
If we want a sustainable future,
Yeah, absolutely.
and for those of you listening
Yeah.
who are prepping for those UPSC exams,
Mm-hmm.
this report is a treasure trove.
Of insights.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways for aspiring IAS officers?
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
this report shows that environmental issues,
Yeah.
they're not isolated.
They're all connected.
Kerala's waste problem.
Yeah.
It affects public health, economic development, social justice, interstate relations.
It's all intertwined.
A perfect example of how a local issue
Yeah.
can have these ripple effects.
Think globally.
Act locally.
But even local actions
Yeah,
have global implications.
that's all connected.
And this report,
Yeah.
it's a real case study
Okay.
in the challenges of decentralization.
Right. Just giving power to local bodies.
Isn't enough.
You need the infrastructure,
The resources.
the accountability.
And don't forget the data.
Oh, yeah.
Accurate data is crucial.
If you're working with bad data,
Your solutions will be flawed.
garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And amidst all these challenges,
Yeah.
this report does offer a glimmer of hope.
Okay, good.
It showcases those innovative solutions,
Like those microenterprise schemes.
and it emphasizes the need for these integrated strategies.
Bringing everything together.
So imagine you're in that UPSC exam hall,
Okay.
and you get a question about Kerala's waste management.
What are the key points?
Well, first,
Yeah.
you got to highlight the interconnectedness.
Right. It's not just about waste.
And then the challenges of decentralization
Okay.
and the need for data-driven decision-making.
Got it.
But you can't stop there.
Right.
You got to talk about the solutions.
Okay.
Showcase those successful microenterprise models
Yeah.
and emphasize those integrated strategies.
Holistic approach.
And don't forget those specific examples.
Like what?
The Brahmapuram fire,
Okay.
the NGT intervention,
With the interstate waste dumping.
those real-world examples.
Yeah, they add weight to your arguments.
and they show you understand the issue.
They're real.
So for all of you future IAS officers out there,
Yeah.
we've given you a lot to think about.
A lot to digest.
But here's a final thought.
Okay.
Imagine you're advising the Kerala government.
On waste management.
What would be your top recommendations
Ooh, that's a good question.
for a truly sustainable?
An equitable system.
Leave your ideas in the comments.
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity,
Yeah.
you can find the full report
Where?
in the show notes.
Okay.
It's called Choking on Toxic Smoke. The Brahmapuram Garbage Disaster in Kochi and Municipal Solid Waste Management in Kerala.
And it was published by?
Down to Earth
Okay.
on February 21st, 2025.
Got it.
And don't forget to like and subscribe
To the deep dive.
for more insightful discussions on current affairs.
Especially those relevant for the UPSC exams.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those ambitions soaring.